when I think about what happened between 2013 and 2021 from a person sitting behind the desk at the NSA, 2013 felt pretty hopeless. Nobody understood what was going on. The extent of surveillance was expanding every year. Our sophistication, our capability was really by orders of magnitude advancing. And meanwhile, just basic encryptions of websites was not happening on a regular basis. I just heard from my BFF staffer yesterday, Alexis, that she pulled the most recent statistics, and now, at least in some browsers, the amount of HTTPS traffic is 95% in 2021. That is night and day. It's not enough. It's not all the way there. That's only in browsers. That's only in some contexts. But the idea that mass surveillance was easy and cheap, it was frankly costless. And this is all of our communications getting snatched off the wires just as it transits the global internet. Now those are being closed. Now they're being murdered. Now they're being protected. 2021 is just the beginning of a wave, or the consequences of public awareness to the fact that a danger is here. But then, as you say, then we get cryptocurrency. Now, cryptocurrency, and by this I'm just going to say Bitcoin, is really failing comprehensively, terribly on the privacy angle. And I've said this again, and people are like, oh, Taproot, look at what Taproot actually does. Taproot does not fix Bitcoin's privacy problem. And there's some arguments that it makes it worse by this sort of fragmented address space, making forensic sort of flow analysis easier, because you can, this kind of wallet is using an ancient address. They sent a payment to this new person with a new form of address, right? But the change address went back to the old one. So even though there's one input, two outputs, you can tell one was a payment and one was a sort of a refund or a change event. Shouldn't be like that. There's no reason for it to happen. We see so many different privacy coins. Zcash, I have said repeatedly, really does the best in this space with their shielded transactions. The criticism is that like these transactions don't occur by default, which is valid. In my opinion, they should happen by default. There are other cryptocurrencies like Monero, privacy coin, which is having a lot of trouble being listed on exchanges broadly, which has sort of privacy by default, but it's a lower measure of privacy. They're just playing a shell game. And those shell games really don't last forever, particularly as technology does better and better. And we haven't seen legally tested in the kind of way that we want to see it done. But they're both great projects, and there are many, many other privacy coins out there. But yeah, I mean, I think it's strategic. I think if you asked a lot of these people privately, they would all say they hate it. They would all say it's a mistake. They would all say they don't do it. But at the same time, I think a lot of these guys are not comfortable being the first to break cover, and they're afraid of regulation, right? The problem with the cryptocurrency space at the largest scale today is the people who make these decisions have the biggest stake in the system, and the system has benefited from the fact that it has not been regulated out of existence, or there's no attempt to regulate that out of existence currently by the structure as it exists today, and so they have become fantastically wealthy. And this puts a lot on the line, right? I'm not saying they have no principles. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm saying they realize how much value there is both for themselves and for everybody else who's bought into these systems by not rocking them. And it's important to remember that sometimes the boat can be bigger than the puddle. And right now, they're all afraid of being, capsized and drowned in the ocean. But there is, like right now, they're in a puddle and there's a rainstorm out there. And the puddle's getting bigger. And I think they need to understand that it's important that we establish these things before the idea that KYC everywhere for everything. We move these, you take something off the exchange and the exchange says, well, you need to identify who owns that wallet. And you need to identify where this came from. You need to identify, where you got these funds from, because, again, like Bank of America can do this to somebody, and they have done this since September 11th. Well, September 11th is not the precedent. That's not the world that we want to live in until the end of time. That's not going to change unless somebody makes a change. The idea of the Bitcoin protocol, the peer-to-peer electronic cash system, is the idea that we can send these payments to anyone permissionlessly. Until we recognize that and realize that and enforce that, or at least provide opportunity through the protocol level, crypto hasn't gotten to where it needs to be.